The West has been a beta male society for a long time. And quite often these beta males try to pass themselves off as great warriors or men of respect. You can tell by the sculptures, the popes, and the various people who are on the top of the society. If people insisted on true morality and insisted on a change, a shift in regime, which true morality leads to, then they were screened out. The West only accepts religions, movements, cultures, philosophies, groups, fraternal organizations, cults, corporations, etc. that are compatible with a beta male society. For the sake of simplification, I have described 3 periods of beta male transitions. We are currently in beta 3.0, which involves globalism and the information age. To understand it, first we need to understand the idea of fortification and mockery. Fighting an uphill battle, so to speak. How do these relate? How does a society that can retreat to a mountain compare to one they can't? Do they need to be great warriors? No. They can simply retreat and mock. Fortification, natural fortifications and barriers, and mockery. This creates a society of mockery, which is how Western civilization was created. Was it created in a more violent region of Europe? No. It was in Greece, with their gender-neutral society of mockery and puns. Pan, nap backwards. Puns. Panic. Pandemonium. Pan-demon. I am is the word. Pandemonium. Pandemic. Right? Pan-African, and so on. Wordplay, spelling, bingo, scramble, rather, crossword puzzles, and so on. To show a certain form of intelligence related to the language, the culture, and the resulting social orders. This video is called The Philosophical Predicament That They Put Me In, and how it is insane to hold it against me, my response, which was not only expected, but moral and morally sound. The most painful part of the human experience to the man who lives in reality is society shunning them, specifically the opposite sex, specifically a man being shunned by attractive or desirable women. That is the most painful experience I've ever had. And I've had sad experiences. I've been abused in various ways. I've had near-death experiences. I've had failures in various ways. The most painful experience I've ever had was that of women shunning me and my heart being broken intensely. My ex-fiancé, high school, and so on. Men only care about impressing other men in terms of how it relates to impressing women. When women see you get that respect from other men, then they're more likely to attach themselves to you. Men first and foremost care about impressing other women. Then the only exception really is the family exception. But of course, that is being greatly reduced as people care about survival more than they care about the most sacred and valuable ideas passed on to them. We live in a sexualized culture. And the form of sex has everything to do with the culture. Sexual behavior really determines the culture. When do women have sex and why? Why do you impress them? Because it determines when they have sex and why. It is the determinant. There are other factors, but that's the determinant. If they're impressed with you, they're more likely to have sex with you. And what kind of sex are we talking about? True love? No, true love is only in a divine martial arts order, where love flows down responsibly and people conform only to an order that allows for love. No ill-gotten gains. Otherwise, it is ill-sex, where they say, fuck me, daddy. You're a pussy. Fuck me harder. Right? That's what they say. That's what they say. And a man is frustrated. And he basically says, take that, take that, take that. Now you can act like little bitches about this. or you can concede the irrefutable truth that this is key to Western culture. Why don't we accept moderate Islam? Because they won't bend over for rich cowards and conformist pussies that are considered popular and acceptable. Why don't we accept African martial arts? Because they insist on a divine, moral order based on love. Why is it called Isis? Because she is a goddess of love and romantic healing, first and foremost. That's why. Everything goes back to sexual frustration. Provocative clothing, yes, it feeds into rape. No, they will never effectively address that because it is part of the culture. They will make a fuss about it because it feeds into their sexual role-playing, their fantasy role-playing activity, which certainly includes a degree of pedophiles' ideas. Dressed like a schoolgirl. A woman spanking you, calling him daddy, right? Isn't that like a little girl calling an adult her father who molested her or something? Isn't that a pedophile's idea of a good time? And why is it so accepted? Poppy, daddy, why? Because you are part of a pedophile reproductive cycle. Look up pederasty. And then it goes back to my argument about the beta male. I could go on and on about why I'm right about this. I hope that you understand that I'm right. 1.0, Greece. By 1600 BC, Greece was said to start to be civilized by the Mycenaean society, which made contact with the Minoan and the Crete. Minos said to be the father of homosexuality. This is when beta male 1.0, when Western society starts civilizing itself in terms of kind of animal lust, eros, right? It's lust and things that are outside of the martial arts order, chaotic forms of sex and reproduction. Beta 1.0, the beginnings of Greek civilization. This never really leaves the West as they relate to each other based on this Greco scale, this Greco-Roman scale. So it doesn't occur until really 500 to 400 BC when we see the pederasty, when I say 2.0. Now the pedophiles have gained acceptance on in the upper echelons of society, and they've sent ripples through the entire society. It is official at this point. The mark of the official transition from organized barbarity and animal behavior under the guise of civilization. Outside of the martial art order, it goes without saying, there's no grace here. There's the illusion of grace, which is called elegance, right? Fancy stuff, men, mining, Hades, Pluto, the rich, right? The devil using shiny objects and various things that are catchy to Western ideas of aesthetics, you know, Western aesthetics that lead to this quote-unquote form of civilization, which leads to the pederasty. It isn't until post-World War II that we see a significant change after that. Everything else is technology-based change. The sexual behavior doesn't really change. Rape, pedophilia, okay? Wars that have mass rape, sexual frustration, rape, role-playing, sexual sadism, all this is, you know, in Western culture, it starts with Greece, with Westerners. Ultimately, it can start in the Middle East, or you can start with Egypt and Africa. I go so far as to say it starts in ancient Africa, okay, predating civilization, but okay. We'll start it with Western civilization, beta 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. So after we get the significant change, it culminates post 9/11 with beta 3.0, where the information age really catches everybody. Nobody is escaping. There's no more stragglers. Everybody is accounted for after 9/11. The Patriot Act, the surveillance state, the trajectory of technology, Snowden's revelations, and so on, things that people like me have been saying for many years that people have been acting like bitches about. And this is just the next step of that. The more technology and education, the more sophistication. What is sophistication? It has to do with being worldly. Materialism and sophist and sophistication go hand in hand. Therefore, all cultures in Western society, and really in the world at this point, but mine, are satanic, they are worldly. Anything but the transcendence, true transcendence, is worldly. The illusion of transcendence is not true transcendence. And we see with the astral projection, with the Eastern philosophy. This is key to meditation. Meditation at its finest is astral projection. So if astral projection is false, then so is meditation. It is proven false. Stupid not to see it that way. I've taken martial arts for 20 plus years. It's stupid not to see it that way. And them seeing it that way is part of why they can't beat me. I am from the royal bloodline of those who live in reality. It is insulting to even begin to suggest that some illusion having and craving bitch can beat me. Thank you very much. So what is the response, the forced response to this society? If you are a brain surgeon's son separated from society, the son of 2 doctors, countless family members are physicians and lawyers, you cannot, at this point, however, make the argument that would appeal to the masses and that would be conceded, mind you, that the men that are being chosen over you by the attractive women are less sophisticated. Why? Because you live in a rural area. They're the ones with the nice, sophisticated cars. They're the ones with the networks that allow for sophistication. I am the rural area guy who happens to be wise. I can't make that argument. I can't make the argument that I'm more violent because they're the ones that are killing people. They're the ones that are getting into gang fights. I'm the rural area guy. I'm isolated. Whether I have more violent tendencies or not is irrelevant. It's subjective to them in the minds of these people. What is objective is the body count, is the stabbings, is the fighting. I can't win them over with these arguments. I can't be more cool because I'm saying, hey, I'm more of a gangster because I'm more violent. I can't make that argument. I'm more sophisticated than the guys you're dating. I can't make that argument. I'm more cool. No, it is your perspective of cool in the eyes of cowards and beta male conformist pussies and control opposition thong-wearing gang members. I cannot make the argument that I'm more cool because I don't wear a thong. Because I don't conform to the LGBT entertainment industry and Hollywood. Those pedophile pussies. I'm not one of these emulating bitches. What arguments am I left with? Wisdom. You are not as wise as I am. Genetic superiority. I am from the sabotaged, most stigmatized races elite, which is above every other one. There is moral supremacy. There is cultural supremacy. There is genetic supremacy. Nobody in their right mind could deny that argument. Certainly not a liberal. And they are the disproportionately educated party. Not the homeschooled folk. In terms of scientific racism, I win hands down. Genetically superior. And they forced that argument by shunning me. What is the most painful part of a man's existence? And when you sit in the middle of nowhere reflecting, what conclusion would you expect from someone like me? Someone who most of you have turned off this video by now because you're beta male bitches talking about, he's yelling. Imagine if our military took the same stance. What are you, a bitch? Turn the volume down, put on a thong, and listen. You bitch-ass motherfuckers. Anyway, persecution. The Martin Luther King effect. The Malcolm X effect. To explain my situation, I had to bring up my origins and my family. Who benefits the most from my suppression? Well, who's in this community? Eugenicists, technocrats, feminists, the LGBT community, Satanists, the worst criminals, and other people who are vying for affection in terms of masculinity from that angle. And of course, of the least of the spiritual bottom feeders on my old list were the atheists and the racists.